That's right. It'll be 42. Who's scored on that? Congratulations. They didn't lose it, I know.
We'll get started here in less than a minute.
Does Coach know that?
All right, everybody. First of all, I want to say happy birthday to Coach O'Connor. And second of all, we're here joined by Orlando City head coach James. Please get us started with your thoughts on tonight's match, please.
Well, obviously the finish was well, pleased that we ended up getting a point so late on. I think the one aspect that probably disappointed me was our movement, especially second half, and I think our energy. I thought Chris Mueller and Pino, the subs when they came on, gave us a bit of energy, gave us some bursts. But when you can see the goal in the 87th or 88th minute to get back in and get a point is fantastic. So great credit to the players for fighting back and getting a point there at the end.
Thank you. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll get started with Jordan.
Yeah, Coach, to start the second half, it did seem a little bit like a replay of Atlanta when the team seemed to wilt a little bit. What's going on at the start of these second halves where the team is starting to wilt a little bit?
I think if you look through the course of the season, maybe it's the start of the second half or in the second half. I think that's something that we're aware of. I think it's very difficult to try and fix something like that mid-season. I think the energy levels need to be better, need to be higher. I think as I said, second half, the movement for the man on the ball, the movement needs to be way more movement. And better understanding is our expectation for a player on the ball to come up with something. He should have 4 or 5 options, and that's something we need to do a way better job at. I think decision making, when to keep the ball. I think at times, especially in the second half, we give it away really cheaply, and then it takes us a period to get it back. So then when you do regain it, the decision then of when to keep it, where to play it, becomes really important.
We'll go to Mike Gramajo.
Coach, you praised a little bit right there earlier about the subs coming in, Chris Mueller, Josue Coleman, who ended up also getting that assist on the Sutter goal. How important was it, those 2 subs, in terms of kind of sparking the team to kind of rally after that late goal from Philadelphia as well?
Okay, I think it's not just in this game. I think the the role of the substitute is really important. You know, you need a sub to come in and impact the game. Sometimes if you're winning, you expect the sub to come in and to help out defensively. I thought Chris did an exceptional job going forward and defending. I thought he really helped Specs out there in the second half. Hosu, as you say, showed glimpses, movement. Pino at times was a threat. So I think, you know, it's pleasing to see players coming on and impacting the game, but especially so late on for that to happen. That was great.
Michael Citro?
James, a little bit of a shuffle on the back line tonight. Can you just give your thoughts on Spector playing at left back tonight and Carlos playing centre back for the first time for your team?
I think for me, when you come in as a coach mid-season, I think you need to assess everything. You need to try and for us be fair to individuals. I think that's something we've tried to do. We've tried to assess the playing staff, have a good look at everybody. I think when you concede as many goals as we have conceded, I think it's trying to find a solution that we stop conceding goals. So for us it was a case of, okay, can Carlos play there, can Specs? I know in England from experience he's played fullback, so it was a decision we looked at and thought, well, maybe he could do a job for us there, and Carlos at centre back. So you know, for us it's always trying to find a solution to what we're trying to do.
We'll go to Chris.
Hi, James. I remember when you first came on, you talked a lot about the team's confidence. Some of the players seem very tentative with their passing, almost timid. How would you assess their level of confidence so far?
I think when you look at I would say the start of the game, I thought we started pretty brightly. I thought we got the goal. I think then that seemed to give everyone a shot of adrenaline. We seemed to then have a bit more movement and people looked like, okay, we want to get on the ball. And then we've conceded a really poor goal. So when that goes in, then I think then a little bit of fear and anxiety comes into play. And I think similar to last week, you're going into the second half at 1-1, and that's where we need people to be brave and courageous and step up and get on the ball. I think we had some guys that did that, but equally then that's when they need movement, they need options. You know, too often the guy picks his head up and there isn't enough movement, and I think that's when we have to do a way better job of helping each other. I think for where we are and where we're going to end up, we're a good ways away from where we envisage us being. So we need to make sure that there's better understanding of what we're trying to do. I think if you look at the goal kicks, I mean, nobody wants to play out more than me, but you need to have an understanding of how to play out. I mean, there's a couple of times second half there that it just looks really silly. You know, you're almost going to shoot yourself in the foot and give them a really cheap goal. So it's understanding how to play out and then being brave enough to do it and then getting the movement to be able to go and get that. But testament to the fight of the players to keep pushing away and the character to keep driving forward and not just accept the 2-1, to go back into it and we're able to get a draw, which was, as I say, a great testament to the character and the fight that they showed.
We'll go back to Jordan.
Seeing Sasha Kljestan come back, how would you assess his performance? He had some flashes, but then it seems like a couple of passes didn't quite connect.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sasha deserves enormous credit. I think he's literally had a long period where he hasn't been involved, and then he's trained a couple of days and he's come straight back in. So I think he deserves enormous credit for his character to say, yeah, okay, I'll step in and I'll play. Equally, Christian, I think he started to tire. Yoshi, to be fair to him, looked as if he was tired. He was trying to get on the ball. We needed maybe some more movement and some options. But I thought, in fairness to Sasha, he hasn't played, and the other two, I think, coming back, they did look a little bit tired. But I think that's where we can help them by having better options and more movement from the surrounding players to help keep the ball. I think the decision of when to keep the ball and when to play forward is something that we need to be way better at.
And we'll take one last question from Gramajo.
Two-part question here. Christian Higuita pretty much played everywhere on the field today, especially in the first half, where he kind of dropped several times. Can you just talk about a little bit about him? And also, Carlos asked us a little bit follow-up on that. Obviously, this is the second game, but what have you kind of seen from him? Is there a learning curve still where he's kind of adapting with the squad?
I I think when you look at Christian, I think he's a capacity to score goals as well. I think he's already shown that in our time here. I think it's important that when we have midfielders like that we get good rotational movement. You know, people understand space, when to pull into space, and then the decision of where to play the ball. Do you play to his feet? Do you play to space? I think at times tonight we looked a little confused with where to play the ball. I think as regards Carlos, I think he's someone that we envisage being able to play in a couple of positions, whether it's in midfield or at the back. I think again for him it's probably a baptism of fire where he's been thrown straight into the deep end. I mean, last week in midfield for 60 minutes, tonight was his first game of 90 minutes, and I think when you come to Orlando and you try to get used to the heat, I think it'll be a few weeks for him to settle in, but again, he deserves credit for the way he's trying to adapt and push himself through.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Coach. Happy birthday.